All right, good morning, everyone. Wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to StormTALK on this Tuesday, the 25th day here of April. Let's see what we got. April, what is that, 8 months until Christmas? Yeah, 8 months till Christmas Day. Start your shopping now. Trust me on that. All right. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you've had a good few days. Obviously, we've been tracking the setup this past weekend for Thunder. Now we're getting ready for how things are going to evolve as we head into the Pegasus Parade this weekend and for Derby Week. And it's a pattern that is going to be quite repetitive. We've seen that a lot already this season. Patterns get stuck. Certainly the wind is what everyone's been talking about. It's been the year of the wind. We will have more of that in the days ahead. Yay. But it is a pattern that gets repetitive at a bad time because now we're getting into the outlook into Derby Week. I'm going to have the very latest thinking how this looks like it will trend. It's not all bad news. It's not all bad, but it could be better. It could be better. All right. Now, the reason why I want to at least mention that out of the gate is that we do have some nice weather today and for most of tomorrow. So I want you guys to take advantage of that because as you're about to see, things are going to change for us. As always, you guys can comment on Facebook and on Twitter and YouTube. I will see it on there. So make sure to give a shout out if you want to your friends. A lot of you have been doing that already. Like Tiffany's, she's ready to go. So is Angela as well. I hope everyone's doing all right. And let's dive into it. We'll start with the outlook for the current setup outside. Actually, this is from our Skytrack camera. Another frosty morning for some of you. I think I dropped down to about 37 at my house this morning. I'm not sure what your thermometer had. Let me know. Just type it in chat what you dropped down to. But I got a feeling quite a few of you are in the 30s this morning. We will have another chance at some patchy frost again for tomorrow morning. But we're getting out of that phase, at least for now. As we get more clouds involved, I want to get certainly warmer weather, at least for a couple of days. Now, there is a bit of rain showing up, at least on the radar. I'm still checking to see if we get any of this to reach the ground because the air is quite dry. But for those of you in Indiana, you're not going to see a lot of sun today. Orange County through Clark County, all the way into Carroll, it is going to be tough today to get a ton of sun. And again, there's a batch of moisture passing overhead, so you may get a few raindrops out of this passing through. Now, the system itself is going to really struggle to do much for Kentucky, so this is mainly an Indiana chance today, and majority of the clouds we found there. Otherwise, we have a chance to warm things up. Today, well into the 60s. We should see a good 10-degree jump from what we had yesterday. So that's going to be a nice improved setup. If you need to take care of mowing the grass or anything like that before we get into another gloomy period coming our way, then today is actually not a bad day for that. Just take your allergy meds. So this wave is passing north. There's two separate ones. And then we've got a wave to the south. This one actually is going to get much more organized in the next 36 hours and will actually give us a pretty good soaking rain, it looks like, for Thursday. Thursday seems to lead the day right now for the rain chance. for the work week, it looks like. And we'll try to take that back down again on your Friday. All right, let me walk you through one of our short-term models. You can see just a hint or two of a shower, mainly north of Louisville. And again, the radar is one of those things where it's going to show a lot of green, but the reality of it getting to the ground is going to be a little more of a challenge today, but I wouldn't rule it out either. It's not a soaking rain today. That's good. Otherwise, we'll see temperatures not as cold tonight. Tomorrow, clouds will continue to linger over Kentucky. This flow over Kentucky is going to be relatively persistent. So tomorrow we may see the opposite happen, where those of you in Indiana may actually have a better chance at sun tomorrow than Kentucky will. So kind of swapping job duties tomorrow as we get into your Wednesday. It's also the first waterfront Wednesday back at the Big Four Bridge coming up for your Wednesday evening. And right now it looks good. There will be a chance of rain that will try to approach later into Wednesday night, but I think we'll be all right. But then when we get into Thursday, this low pressure is going to be moving right over Kentucky. I would say over Bowling Green, Western Kentucky University, over toward Pulaski County and Somerset. That looks to be the track. There is a chance to get some thunderstorms out of this. I do not see anything severe, but there could be some lightning and thunder on the eastern side of the track. So it's not going to be for everyone on Thursday, but if you're south and east of that, and even on Friday, you may have a little bit of thunder with this as it moves on by. It's a bit of it's not a perfect circle. You guys know when we draw these low pressures, you get the big red L and a circle around it, which most of them are round. In this case, this one is more like this. It's kind of a very elongated oval kind of shape moving through. So it takes a little bit of time to get through when it's taking on that type of shape. It takes a little bit longer to pass through Kentucky. So we'll have to extend the rain chance into Friday just because of the shape of it moving on by. I do see a chance of some gusty winds as we head into parts of your Friday morning, especially as the low gets very close to passing by I-65. The wind may ramp up over 30 miles per hour. So not a strong wind, not a wind advisory, anything like that coming our way, but it will be noticeable. Tiffany, you're asking about heavy rain for the Thursday? So we said Thursday. I wouldn't say overly heavy rain, but it will be moderate at times, and it could be persistent depending on how the eastern side of this plays out. The chance is higher in Tennessee than it is Kentucky, but it just really depends on the shape of the low as it moves on by. But there will be some decent rainfall of this. I would say a good half inch or so may fall out of it. But because it's going to be relatively lighter on the northern side, I don't see amounts being widespread on the heavier side. It passes on by as we head into your Friday. Then we get into the weekend. Now, we've got the races. We have the rush hour race for the balloons Friday morning. Right now, my gut is telling me that's probably not going to happen because of the wind and just the messy weather. That's a gut I have right now. I could be wrong. Friday afternoon, the glow takes place. That may be decent. We may get in between systems here because you see there's another red arrow coming our way. That's for the weekend. But we may be in between systems Friday night into early Saturday. So I think we may be able to get the glow in, and we should be able to get in the mini and the main marathon races for your runners on Saturday with not a lot of issues. It's not going to be overly pretty, probably a really wet ground and temperatures in the 50s, but we may see that break perfect timing. But once we get into Saturday night into Sunday, now this is a much more complex setup. And in fact, the red L is not even matching the new update on the model. What is happening here? We've got two lows, one that's diving in across the Midwest and one that is going to sneak in underneath it. And we don't know yet this piece here. Is this going to be moving through Arkansas? Is it going to go all the way down to Louisiana? That will make a difference on the timing of rain and how cool we could be on Sunday, because the one up here in the Midwest is one we've got to watch because this one is going to be a large low that is going to settle in the Ohio Valley Sunday into Monday. It'll increase the wind, showers, and some chilly air will be coming our way as well. And this one may take some time to get all the way through. Here is the problem. This is why we are seeing this. We've got a pretty significant block happening in Greenland. I couldn't get the words all the way over to Greenland, but it's up here. But you get the idea in that area. There's a big block, though, in Greenland at the moment, and it's probably the strongest I've seen to block the weather pattern for the lower 48 for April, probably since about, so far, the data is lining up 1995. It's the last time we've had an April pattern that is to this kind of level of cold. If this were January, we would be talking about snow on a daily basis and quite cold air. But it's not January. It is April. So instead of snow, which, yeah, for snow lovers, it's good. I'm not sure snow in April is fun. But we get the other side of the cool weather in the spring, and that's a cold rain, which to me is way more miserable than snow would be in April, personally. But it is a chilly rain. You got gusty wind, and these lows, they just kind of pinwheel off each other. They get stuck. They just keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And because it's a blocking patterns, when the jet stream is locked in like it is very difficult to knock it out of the way. But that's what has to happen to get Derby week to improve, certainly as we head toward Oaks and Derby. This has to move. We got to get out of the way. Once we do, we will likely enter a warm bubble for a while. But I don't know if that's going to happen by Oaks and Derby yet or not. Today's data is slower with the cool weather lingering longer. So the numbers have come down a bit toward Derby. That could easily change, and it likely is going to, because the models, this is an anomaly event we're talking about. This is something that, again, I had to go all the way back to the 90s to kind of look at data on this. So it doesn't happen very often. So the modeling is going to try to trend all of our numbers in the extended for temperature based on what normally would happen for the end of April and early May. So the model tries to force you into a certain forecast range, if that makes sense. But as meteorologists, especially growing up here, we know, wow, this stands out. And what typically happens in the Ohio Valley, and it's usually better to bet on a slower exit of colder air in the Ohio Valley than a faster. That usually works out for us. So that will likely be the trend. And Paul, you already asked a good question. What about planting? Because normally we say Derby Day, right? I do think we're going to end up with more frost in this kind of a pattern. We can't get the frost off the map here. It's still going to be possible next week, especially if the sky can clear in between any of these lows. Once we get out of that bubble, though, I really do see the warmer weather locking in, and that will get us toward between Derby and Mother's Day at that point, and we should be good. I think at that point, spring will finally start to try to lock in, which is good. Looking forward to that. But the next week and a half is not going to be overly pleasant. I don't want to be a complete Debbie Downer and say, oh, don't go to any Derby event. This is going to be horrible. That's not true. There will be some time here to work with where we will get some of the events in without any major problems. But there will be a couple of periods where it's going to be just flat out yucky. All right. And we're going to try our best to try to let you know when to expect those periods so you can plan, and you can still go to these events. But you just got to plan and make sure to know what to wear, and make sure you're ready for the weather just in case. Okay. The parade is Sunday. Everyone's going to be on that day. We'll be out there here on Broadway. I think Myra and Sari and I are going to be out there. We'll be into the crowd. So if you're going to hang out in the crowd, make sure to wave at us. But it does look like a rain chance is going to be there, and it does look like it's going to be windy. And that, of course, gets into the question about inflatables and how that will work. That is always tough. Usually we can't nail that down to almost the day of. But we are seeing gusty winds. It could, each time a low comes by, we're going to see gusts that could go over 30 miles per hour. So I see no reason to deviate from that, because that's what's happened for the past several months. Wind, wind, wind. So it's better to bet on the wind. So that's the overall summary, guys. Hope that makes sense. I try to give you guys a little bit more of a technical reasoning today, because it's going to be an ever-changing 10-day. It's not an easy 10-day that normally would happen for late April, to be honest. But if there is a plus side to this, that is the severe threat and tornado threat has been really knocked down, right, across especially our neck of the woods. So that's the plus. But we're on the other side of the coin now. We're into a colder setup. Let's see. Snow on Derby Day. Yes, although that's always a very controversial thing that we had back in 1989. It was sleet officially is what fell. That's in the books for Derby. But there were several folks in the stands at Churchill said they saw snow that fell. But it's kind of odd, because at that point, for a lot of the years at Derby, they actually had someone that was recording the weather at Churchill versus the actual measurements that were done at the airport itself. And therefore you get a little bit of conflicting data. But yes, 1989, that was tough. That was tough. Nathan, yeah, not much in the way of severe weather. I really don't see that being a big issue here, because we just don't have enough warm air to get these systems out of control. But you can get a lot of wind. These are kind of blustery. We saw a preview to how these lows can be, especially on thunder with that wind. So you got to keep that in mind. But in between, you can get some warm jumps in there mixed in. I don't think it's going to get above normal. Normal is in the lower 70s now. We do not have any lower 70s in the 10-day at all. There's even a chance 1 or 2 days in this kind of a pattern could be stuck in the 40s for highs. That is possible. Right now, I'm thinking it's going to be early next week that we could see that. All right, guys, that's where we stand. Just hang tight with us. I'm going to go look at the midday data that's coming in now and see if there's any trends to help me out, especially on Sunday. That's the time period I'm trying to focus on as well. And I'll have that for you guys coming up on midday at 11 a.m. And don't forget, we have a new noon newscast at 12 noon now. I will see you guys then with another update on how things are trending. Be safe. Try to stay warm. Enjoy today, guys. It really will be a nice afternoon. The sun's going to be fighting the clouds, but we will see highs into the 60s today. So take advantage of that. And I will see you guys coming up on the flip side.